smile. I'm not even on camera.
All right. Hello. Good morning. We are live. Oh, let me catch my YouTube up. Guys. Oh, guys, we got to talk. Ooh,
Big news. Huge.
all right. We only have 36 people in the chat. Guys, can you do me a favor? Share out the link to the stream. This is huge news. I want everybody here. This is big. We have two giant stories that have just broke that we've got to talk about. Lori Vallow has been charged with conspiracy to commit murder for the death of Charles Vallow. Lori is incompetent to stand trial. Finally, I can talk about that. Jess, I have been sitting on that for freaking 2 months.
Yup.
Oh man, right. Yeah, let's get some more
Yep.
people in chat. We've only got 48 people here. Guys, hello, come on in. We need some peeps. Let's see. Did I put it on Twitter? Did I put the right link? Let me check. Yeah, if you can tweet out the link to the stream, put it on Facebook, put it in all the groups, all that good stuff. Let's get some people here.
Oh my God, you guys. This has to be the week from hell for Lori. I'm not even kidding. It's
Yep. Did I
gotta
make
be.
this public? Hold on.
Yeah,
Guys,
it is because I'm on it on my iPad too. It's public.
I mean, but can you see it publicly? Did it come up in
Yes.
notifications? Did it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Give me one.
You
I
guys,
was
this
not
is
planning
so
this.
good.
This is huge. This is really, really huge.
It's
Visibility is public.
finally
All
happening.
right.
Finally happening. I
Okay, we got
feel
55
so
people.
happy. So happy for Kay and Larry and Crusha. All of them. I bet you they are through the roof celebrating right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me open this PDF. Just why don't you talk for a second? I have some stuff to do over here. I got to open all these files.
Absolutely. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh, you guys. Has this not been like the biggest 2 week for news, just like true crime news? Not just in this case, but I mean, this is humongous, guys. We knew they killed Charles. I mean, obviously, we knew they killed Charles, but we knew it was downright murder, not self defense. And we didn't know that we were going to get charges or anybody would be brought to account. But oh my goodness, you guys. Oh my goodness. You guys have any questions that I can answer while A1 is doing some crazy stuff over there? That's,
Trying to
have you
collect
guys
all the
seen
documents.
the interview with Justin Lump? He interviewed Kay and Larry a couple of days ago, and then Colby. He did an interview with Colby about, or I guess it was last night that it got published, or maybe it was early this morning. Either way, I saw it when it came in. I knew this was coming. I knew it by the way Colby was talking because he kept saying, that he wanted justice for JJ and Tylee and Charles. And he said that multiple times in the interview. If you haven't watched it, go look on the Arizona news thing with Justin Lum. And it's probably a 10-minute interview or so with Colby. It's really telling. It's a good interview, guys.
All right, so I've got some stuff on the screen. What do you guys want to start with? Do you want to start with the Charles stuff, or do you want to start with the incompetent thing? Remember about, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? I put up a video explaining the difference between insanity as a defense and incompetent to stand trial. Yeah, there was a reason I put that up. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully y'all watched it, because now having that information will really help.
Let's
you.
talk about Charles first because people
Okay.
are going to be joining, and it's easier to repeat that than to repeat the incompetency stuff over and over again
All right.
because it's pretty nuanced.
What I'm going to do is, as soon as we get some more people in chat, I am going to play that clip of the audio call with Melanie Gibb where she's talking about Charles's murder, because certainly now that's pretty darn relevant. So we got to talk about that. But Lori Vallow has been charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Charles Vallow out of Chandler, Arizona. They submitted this to the Maricopa County DA on the 1st of April. So I think they've been sitting on it, just waiting for these charges to drop in Rexburg. Now we've got it, and there you go. There you go. So we don't have charges for Chad, as far as I know. So that's a little curious. I am watching Justin's feed and stuff to try and get the charging documents out of Arizona. As soon as we have those, we'll put them on the screen. But why don't we listen to this audio? And I'll play it a couple times because everyone's going to want to hear it. So let me get share audio.
And no, there is not a link to the entire phone call before it starts. It's not going to be made public, guys.
Nope.
Or no.
Okay, so it should be queuing up in a second. There it is. All right, turn your volumes up loud. Jess and I will mute. It's only 22 seconds, but this is Melanie Gibb talking about Charles's murder. Okay, so we'll listen to that and then we'll talk about it and get back to the charges. So here we go. Let me make it big and loud and all that stuff.
So, and Alex, bless his heart, who passed away, he just thought he was doing a favor to his sister. He didn't really care so much, about Charles or this or that, but he just thought he was helping her.
Did she ask him to kill him?
Well, to self-defense, yes. Well, because they planned it. I mean,
I know it's just a really quick clip. I don't want to play too much more of the call. However, it's already out there. Somebody stole it down off my channel and put it up on their channel because that's what people do, I guess.
That clip, happens. Not the entire call.
Right.
You cannot find the entire call.
No, the entire call has not been public, but that is one clip from that phone call of Melanie saying that they planned Charles's murder. She calls it planned self-defense, which is not a thing, of course, So yeah, she said they planned it.
Not a legal thing anyway.
Now, certainly law enforcement has had this call, and a lot of people in the comments are yelling at me for Awen, why wouldn't you send it to law enforcement? They have it. Okay, guys, come on. Of course they have it. And maybe that was a factor in these charges for Lori. It's pretty exciting. So, man, movement for Charles. I am so excited, Jess.
So what do you think? Excited. Since it says conspiracy, you think there's a couple of more people getting wrangled in?
Well, certainly Alex would have been. Right. I would guess someone else who might have known, who might have been living there in the house and was asked to leave so Alex could come so they can carry out the plan they knew about. Who would that be?
I'm going to finally find out who was at that dang pool party. Finally, I know that's my hang up. I am going to know who was at that pool party.
Yep. So we only have Lori, but yeah, there certainly were other people. But remember, this is something that you've all heard Larry Woodcock say before. There were a number of people there that day. There was Alex, Charles, JJ, Tylee, and Lori, right? 4 of those people are dead.
Yeah.
Everyone in the home the morning that Charles was shot is dead except for Lori. Is that not a freaking problem?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Miss Melanie Gibb, I'm going to expect you're about to get another subpoena, if nothing else.
I would not be surprised.
You know that they're going to have to at least depose her. I mean, they're going to have to.
They're going to have to because just because of this call.
You don't have a lawyer. You're going to need one.
Yep. What is my StreamYard doing? I'm having some issues over here. Technical problems. Don't mind me. Let me play that 22-second clip again because, man, this gets me. Okay, ready? Volume's up. I'm going to play it in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And
whoops. 1. Here we go.
So, and Alex, bless his heart, who passed away, he just thought he was doing a favor to his sister. He didn't really care so much, about Charles or this or that, but he just thought he was helping her.
Did she ask him to kill him?
Well, to self-defense, yes. Well, because they planned it. I mean.
There you go, guys. I will probably unprivate that video because dang it, man. Actually, you know what? Kresha's here. Kresha,
oh my God.
Kresha.
You have got to be dancing on the ceiling. Can I say something? Because I know that you won't. Yeah. I want you guys to know that call, when she did publish that little bit, it has never and will not be monetized. I know that's probably a question people have, and Awen wouldn't say it, but I know that for a fact, and it might be monetized by whoever stole it. I don't know, but it has never been monetized, and she's not going to. Awen wouldn't say that publicly, but I do want people to know that. We didn't make it some big deal to try to get a bajillion people to come in and watch it and make money off of it.
Definitely
That's
not.
just my little, TSA. Oh my
Yep.
gosh, Crusher, your family has got to
Ugh.
be dancing on the ceiling excited right now.
Cresha, justice is coming for your Uncle Charles. Oh my God, I am thrilled to bits. However, we do have a whole nother news story to talk about for Miss Lori over here. This is something that I have been sitting on for a really long time. Okay. Obviously, some things we can't talk about because they could impact the course of justice. But
Right.
Lori Vallow has been found incompetent to stand trial. Okay, we're going to talk about what that means. Mods, if you could get a link to the video that I did about incompetency versus insanity, because they're very, very different things. Very different things. So let me open the order. All right, Judge Boyce filed an order this morning. All right, Lori has had a. Oh my God, you just found out 10 minutes ago? Oh, Kresha. Wow. Yeah. Man, they should have given you a heads up. All right, so all right, I do have a video on the channel about the difference between insanity and incompetency. It's a really big deal, okay? People are going to run with this. They're not going to understand exactly what it means. And we don't want the story to get twisted wrong. So let's start right out of the gate with what this actually means, okay? There's a difference between insanity. You cannot plead insanity in Idaho. Nobody is saying Lori should get off on the charges because she was insane. That's not what's happening here. Okay, so try to, I know we want to run and scream and get very angry, but incompetency to stand trial means that right now, in this day and time, Lori is not mentally capable of understanding what's going on in this case. She doesn't understand the charges. She doesn't understand her defense. She cannot help her attorney take part in her defense. She can't do it. Okay. Now, before you all start screaming, oh, she's faking it, it's blah, 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 blah. I get that. Okay. I really do. But stop for a second. All right. She was evaluated by an expert who I believe is either from the Department of Corrections or the state or something. This is not a defense expert. Okay, the defense didn't go out and handpick a psychologist and say, "Hey, can you get me this eval?" That did not happen. Okay, she was evaluated by a I'm not saying it wasn't Rob Wood's expert, but the state of Idaho. This person works for the state of Idaho. He evaluated Lori. Now, Jess, let's talk a little bit about malingering, because the next thing we're going to see is she's faking it. She's making it up, blah, blah, blah. Can you explain a little bit how difficult it is to actually do that?
People think they know enough about psychology that they can pull it off and fake it. Malingering is a thing. A lot of people have this notion in their head that if they plea or fake crazy, that they will not be held accountable for whatever crime they do. Even if you are found not guilty by reason of insanity, you are still charged. You are not going free. But a lot of people don't think that's the case. They think if I pull off crazy, they will let me right back out of here, give me some medication and a therapist, and I can go to Walmart afterwards. You're not going to Walmart, bucko. You are either going to a mental hospital, a mental prison, or regular prison, kind of by yourself. Malingering is a thing. Nobody can pull that off for a long amount of time. I'm telling you, you can't. There are so many videos on the internet where you can watch people being interrogated who are faking it, and you can tell they're faking it because they have watched too dang many movies or crime shows and think they can pull off this Rain Man kind of thing after they've just planned out this big long murder.
Yep.
You know?
Perry Balabusta has a great comment in chat. The professionals who conduct competency, if I can even say it, competency evaluations are trained in detecting fakers. The professionals who do competency evaluations are trained in detecting fakers. Please, they really, really are. If Lori's been found incompetent, nobody is saying that she's insane and therefore not liable for the charges. Nobody's saying that. They're saying right now, Lori is in a mental state where she cannot take part in her defense. Okay, so I know it sounds like we're defending Lori, but what I'm trying to do is bring the temperature down so people don't run around screaming bloody murder about this. Because if she is sick, right, if she has been ruled incompetent by a really good expert who does not work for Mark Means, okay, this is an impartial expert, then she does need psychiatric help. But that's what this order does. It's going to get her that. But remember, the goal of an incompetency ruling is to restore competency. Okay, please watch the video that I have on the channel. I really explain that. The goal is not to let her get off on the charges. The goal is to give her the psychiatric treatment that she needs, which will restore her competency so she can take part in her trial and it can proceed. We've known that there's been a stay in the case since March 8th. Okay, this has been going on this whole time behind the scenes. Yes, I knew about it. No, I'm not telling you how I knew about it, but I knew, and we've been sitting on it. And so many people say, gee, Eamon, do you think Lori might be crazy? Or I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
And that has been so hard for me. God, has been so hard. Oh, but finally, the judge did release the order. Now we know. This is why that there was a continuance yesterday. If Lori, imagine for a second, if she is genuinely incompetent to take part in her defense, she should not have had an arraignment yesterday. Not that it was an arraignment, but you know what I mean. She cannot be appearing. Right, thank you. She cannot be appearing in a court of law in front of a judge if she's not competent to understand what's happening. That's why she had the continuance yesterday. Now remember, don't just start yelling, oh, Mark Means is a jerk, this is garbage, blah, blah, blah. The judges, both judges, Boyce and Edens, agreed that this needs to be on hold. Okay, so the judges agree that there's a competency issue that needs to be evaluated. So remember that the judges are certainly not pro Lori. The judges are not faking. The judges are not just trying to get a delay or whatever. The judges would not do that. All right, so have some faith in Judge Edens and Judge Boyce to say, hey, we got to talk about this. Barbie doll, we do not allow calls for violence in this chat. So I'm going to remove your comment, and please don't do that again.
So to repeat, she is not claiming insanity. That is not a defense in Idaho. I do not know if that's a defense in Arizona. She's only been found incompetent in Idaho. They might be able to fax this down to Arizona and they will accept it, or they will evaluate her from somebody from Arizona. So I'm not expecting to see her arraigned for the Charles things either anytime soon, to be honest.
Yep.
Oh, you got a super chat from Anna Pina.
Oh, goodness, I missed 2 super chats. And Pena, thank you. Said, just popped in. I missed a bunch. Don't worry, we're going to go back over everything because there's a lot to talk about today. Okie dokie says, thank you for caring so much. You're welcome. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate the support. But yeah, this is big news. All right, so 2 stories. Lori has been charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Charles Vallow out of Chandler, Arizona. They submitted their investigation findings to the Maricopa County DA on April 1st. They've been sitting on it and waiting for everything to go down in Rexburg that we just saw the other day. So thank goodness now we might actually see some justice for Charles Vallow. Jess, I can't tell. That makes me happy. Remember how the indictments that came down made me sad for some reason?
I don't think I'm going to be sad about this.
Oh, no. Oh,
this is so long
over
coming.
the moon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yes.
It also, to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it explains why that subpoena for Melanie Gibb was so long.
So big, yep.
Because Lori is not answering questions.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to get everything they can by subpoenaing Melanie. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yep.
But, that's a big deal, you guys.
I'm
hoping they wrangle some more people in on this conspiracy charge in Arizona.
Yep.
I really do. Wouldn't it be something if they have to will they have to extradite her to Arizona? I doubt it. I guess they'll probably just do a Zoom thing. Wouldn't that be something to take her down there, Jody areas? Maricopa County can't handle both of them. There's no way.
Jennifer and Hunter asks, why conspiracy and not murder charges for Charles? Well, we don't have the charging documents yet. Keeping an eye. Justin will probably get them pretty soon. As soon as he has them, we will be able to talk about that. But I think it's because Lori did not shoot Charles. I think Alex did. However, conspiracy to commit murder carries the same penalty as first-degree murder, right? If you get a conspiracy charge, you can get the same penalty as whatever the conspiracy was for. Okay, like if you have a conspiracy to rob a bank, then you can be charged just as the person who robbed the bank. See? So it's fine. I don't care if it's a conspiracy. That's great.
What was the female doctor who's down in Florida, I think? Sliver, what was her name? Her husband hired somebody to kill her.
Dr.
You know what I'm
Seaver.
talking
Yep.
about? Severs.
Yep.
You know, he got more time than the man who actually killed her. They had 2 separate trials. The murderer went first, and I think he got life. Maybe with the possibility of parole, maybe not. I don't remember. But when her husband went, who didn't have any, all he did was pay the guy and hire the guy. He got the death penalty.
Mhm.
So for anybody that thinks that she won't have to pay just because she didn't shoot him, you are wrong.
Yep. So that's the first big news today. I was actually talking with Justin when the news broke, and he got really quiet. I was like, how come he's not answering me? And then I see that tweet. I was like, oh, that's why you're not answering me. He's like, oh my God, it just broke. I'm like, yeah, it did. So that is amazing.
Guys. What
Charles's death. Charles's death is one of the deaths. I mean, obviously all of them are horrible. Charles has bothered me in a different way because he had reached out to law enforcement. He had tried to get Lori in on a psych hold. He had done everything he could have possibly done within the system and within his rights to try and get help because he thought Lori was crazy and she was trying to kill him. And everyone ignored him. Everyone.
I'll be curious to see, and this is me just thinking out loud, I'll be curious to see if any of the law enforcement involved in this case are going to be held accountable in one way or another for dropping the ball. I will be curious.
You remember the video that we have of Lori and Tylee and Melanie Gibb, once again, sitting with the police department, Chandler PD, and they're telling them all about, oh, well, you know, Charles stole Lori's purse, so da-da-da-da-da. And they're sitting there right across from Tylee. If they had listened, you know, when Lori said, oh, well, I think he's got a psych hold or something, or Charles called and said, I have a psych hold on her. Please hold her, right? Do you know what they did? They went back into that interview room and they told Lori to get out quick because if Charles showed up with the order, they'd have to hold her. They helped her get away with that.
Yeah, they did.
They did not believe Charles at all, and they helped Lori. If they had done the right thing, Tylee might still be here. Charles might still be here. JJ, Tammy, all of them might still be here if they had stopped it in Chandler, Arizona. So,
and you know, it wasn't just the police either. I mean, he reached out to his bishop, her friends. You know, Charles even went to Melanie. You know, Melanie talks about Charles coming to her crying about Lori, and she just completely dismissed it, knowing what was going to happen to him. There's so many people. That shouldn't have happened. There's no reason that Charles or the kid should be dead right now. And that has a lot to do with the people in Arizona. Yep. That's how I feel about it.
Someone in chat.
Go ahead.
Someone in chat said, I hope that Kay and Larry sue Chandler Police for that. Me too. Me too. And certainly this phone call from Melanie Gibb could help in a civil lawsuit. It really could.
I'm working on a case. I haven't released a video on it. I'm working on it today. That was it was in Gilbert, Arizona. And it's a child abuse case, a really bad child abuse case. And they found a couple of officers liable for some things that they let slip at the same time. It's the same time period. So there's at least a little bit of precedent that somebody might be held accountable. It wasn't great accountability, so don't get your hopes up. But,
yes,
you know, it's different now. People are asking for a lot more accountability from law enforcement and those kind of, you know, that group of people. So here's hoping. And for whoever just wasn't incompetent, that Lori is not incompetent, legally she is right now.
Yep. So, all right, let's, as far as Charles go, people are asking about a speedy trial and is this going to conflict with Rexburg? It's not really. They're working together. Remember, we know that Rob Wood has been down there. He's talked to them. They were waiting to drop these charges until Rexburg went first. So they're going to work together. I'm sure. I don't know if Mark Means can. I don't think he can represent her in Arizona. I don't know if he's licensed there. She may need another lawyer down there who will most likely waive the right to a speedy trial. That happens all the time. So I don't think it's going to conflict. I'm certainly thinking we're going to see Rexburg go first, and then she'll have to face these charges too. So
The speedy trial thing, you have to be okay. She's charged, but she hasn't had a first appearance, so that starts a timer. If they do a continuance like we just saw, that kind of stops the timer. The speedy trial thing does not kick in until she's arraigned. They have 60 days after her arraignment. She has to plea before that goes. And then she, not anybody else, not the state, she has to waive her right to a speedy trial, which will happen because they can't put this kind of case together in 60 days. So the speedy trial doesn't even take effect right now. What are the chances, do you think, that they wrap this up and make it a federal case? Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't see that happening. I don't.
You don't think so?
No.
You think it'll be two separate?
Yep.
Two just separate ones.
Yep. Mangley of the Fox, thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate that. She says, "Hey, Ewan, hey, Jess, was Lori in a hospital gown yesterday and or restrained?" No, she was not. She was in the blue sweater.
About the handcuffs.
She was wearing the blue sweater that she has worn in other court hearings, so she was not. I don't know how much I can say about the process that's been going on, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut for today. I will get confirmation, see if I can bring it to you. But I know what's been going on with her the last since March 8th. So this has been in the works for a long time. Her incompetency is what I'm talking about.
We know she's not in a psych ward. We know she's at the jail. So
yes, she is. She is currently at the Madison County Jail where she has been. She hasn't left. So what happens now? Let's talk about the process a little bit. I did put it in the video. Salty Idaho has been linking to my video about incompetency versus insanity, where I talk about the whole procedure. So everything you need to know is in that video. So please watch it, okay, before running around with some of the crazy stories that you know are going to come up about this. What's going to happen now? She has had an expert not hired by Mark Means. Please understand that. She had a state what do you call it? A state validated expert or something? Whatever. Court approved state expert, psychologist, evaluate her. He came back and clearly said, as we know from this order for the stay, that he said he believes she is incompetent to stand trial. That means she's not crazy. She doesn't get away with the charges. It just means right now she's going through some things and she cannot take part in her defense. All right. So they brought that to the judge. The judge ordered the stay in the case. Right. There's been evaluations ongoing. But now Rob Wood is coming forward and saying he is going to challenge that. Okay. So be happy. I'm sure, everyone expected Rob Wood to challenge that. So Rob Wood will have to get his own expert to come before the court now. And the expert, they're not going to immediately evaluate Lori. This expert is going to come and he's going to evaluate the other psychologist's report and say, oh, maybe he missed this or he missed that, or, whatever. He has to challenge the veracity of the report.
Get many second opinions, I'm sure.
Yes. And then the judge can say, okay, let's do another evaluation. All right. But that's going to take some time. All right. The evaluation process is about 3 weeks. They still have to have a hearing with the court to discuss if the judge could say, know what, Rob Wood, this expert's report that we already have looks perfect. We're going to go with that. Boom, she's incompetent. So it's going to be challenged. All right. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But if Judge Boyce says, okay, I've seen all the experts, I've seen all the reports, yes, I am ruling that she is incompetent to stand trial at this time. That's when things start happening. That's where she will have to undergo psychiatric treatment, which could be pharmacological, it could be therapeutic, could be both, all kinds of things. But they're going to try to restore her competency. Okay. So that she will be able to stand trial. That's the goal of an incompetency evaluation, is to get her restored. So nobody panic, okay? They're going to work very hard to get her where she needs to be so she can understand the proceedings against her, take part in her defense, and stand for her charges. That's what we all want. So it's a process. It's going to take some time. But this is why we didn't hear the pro hac vice for Lori's case and all of that stuff. That's why none of that has happened. All right, and we've talked about that a lot. I've certainly hinted. I've dropped monumental hints. And I know some people have picked up on that. Last night, somebody put a very long comment on a video really outlining, I think Lori might be incompetent to stand trial because I'm like, whoa, you've been paying attention. I deleted that because I didn't want the rumor out there that big. But now, of course, this morning, now we get this. So it's like, well, there you go. Yep. So what do you think of this?
2 things in the chat. Let's just noodle this out. Y'all know I'm not taking up for Melanie Gibb and Lori.
Mhm.
We have not heard Lori speak since Nate Eaton had a hold of her in Hawaii saying, that's nice. People are looking for your kids. Do you have anything to say? That's the only statements we've had from Lori. We have not heard from Lori in over a year. So if we're going to sit here and say Lori is freaking bats over and over and over again, 50 Ways to Sunday, you've kind of got to give her the benefit of the doubt that she could be incompetent right now. You can't say that she's crazy for doing the things that she did, but there's no way she's actually incompetent. I just don't think it's a valid argument. The other argument in chat that Melanie Gibb is telling her how to fake it, are we talking about the same smart Melanie Gibb here? This woman has been caught on video, on recording, telling that she's basically involved in the murder of a ton of people. I don't think Lori is taking advice from Melanie.
No,
really
she's
don't,
not.
guys. That just doesn't make any sense. And if she is taking medical advice from Melanie Gibb, she is definitely incompetent, people. That is the dumbest. No way. Melanie wouldn't know how to fake incompetency. She knows how to fake that she is naive and the most deceived, but she's not incompetent by any stretch of the imagination.
Brendan Tube in chat says, and this is going to be a really popular opinion, Brendan Tube, I get it. She says, I'm sorry, but I just have a thought that this is another manipulative tactic of hers. I know. I would guess 90% of people who hear this news are going to come back and say that. And of course, that's a normal reaction. However, she has been ruled incompetent by an expert forensic psychologist approved by the state, not her own psychologist. This is someone who is approved by the state of Idaho to do these types of evaluations. Okay, so remember that. Somebody who is specifically working either for the Department of Corrections or the state of Idaho, they know how to look for malingering. They know how to look for signs of being faked. Jess and I watched a video yesterday from Jim Can't Swim about people who try to pretend to be crazy in their legal cases, right? It's a long video. Please go watch it. It's a great video. It is really, really hard to fake being crazy when you're being evaluated
24/7.
by someone.
24/7. Yeah.
When you're being evaluated by someone who is trained to spot you faking it. All right. So if this expert, now we'll get into the expert as soon as his name is released and his record and everything, and you'll see, you guys are going to see, he is a fantastic, very, very highly revered doctor in his field. If this guy says she's incompetent, even I would tend to believe him. Okay. So let's remember that. Okay. So it sucks. I know people are going to be really mad, but the goal is to get her back on track so she can face charges. Okay.
Absolutely. If you go back, we watched the Tim Jones Jr. trial years ago, and they spent about $500,000 in experts trying to prove that stupid dent in his head.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they kept getting opinions, trying, but there was just so much evidence that he was not insane at the time. There was way too much planning. And just from what we see, not that insanity is even an option in Idaho, but just from the documents we got from this indictment, they were planning the kid's death almost a year out. When you plan like that, there's no way to plead that. It's not going to happen. You can rest assured she's not going to get away with it.
Okay, M. Aspen is asking a question. Well, what about all the pre-planning? That takes mental agility. All right, let's talk about that. And M. Aspen, please take a minute after this live to go watch my video describing the difference between an insanity defense and incompetent to stand trial. Incompetency has nothing to do with the guilt or innocence of the defendant. Okay, this is not about, oh, she's innocent because she was crazy. No, this has nothing to do with guilt or innocent. Though what this has to do is at this moment in time, can she understand where she is in a courtroom? Can she understand the nature of the proceedings against her? Can she have an effective conversation with her attorney to take part in her defense? And this expert has said no, she cannot do those things at this time. Okay, there's a huge difference. This is not an insanity defense. No, so when we're talking about insanity, then we have to say, what was their state of mind at the time of the offense? Okay, this has nothing to do with that. Totally different legal concept completely. All right, so don't conflate the two because they're very, very different. So whatever she did then, sure. Okay, we know what we all think about Lori's guilt or innocence. That's not in question. What's in question is, can she right now work with her attorney and defend herself in a court of law? And that answer at this point in time is no. Okay, so, but that can be fixed. That can be fixed. So it's okay. All right, so let's not get too upset. But this does explain why we had the continuance yesterday, why nothing has happened in Lori's case since March, because this has been going on. All right.
And really, her life is not that different. Even though she's being found incompetent, she's still in jail. She's not going anywhere. So, I mean, she's really wasting time. That's the worst thing that you can say about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just she's not waiting for a trial. She's now waiting to be found competent. She's not going anywhere. She's going to sit in the same jail no matter what.
Right.
She's not getting out, guys.
And I will say this for a lot of people, I'm watching chat, a lot of people saying, oh, she's faking it still. Are any of you 20, 30-year experienced forensic psychologists? If you are, great. I'll listen to that. If you're not, let's trust the guy. Okay. The guy was not hired by Mark Means. The guy is not hired by a lawyer. He has a lot of experience looking at criminal cases like this. If she's faking it, he's probably going to know. Okay, he probably would. So, but he also would be the one who would be able to treat her to restore her competency so she can stand trial. So, we want to support the experts who are state sanctioned to do this. All right. Now, we will hear other experts. Rob Wood said in this filing, we know that he is going to contest this. She will have to be eventually reevaluated and all of that stuff. So that will happen. Okay, it really will happen. So trust the process. It is going to take a little while. It'll take probably another 3 or 4 weeks before we have another, what Rob Wood expert comes back with. And then if they say, okay, yeah, she's not competent, then we have up to 60 to 90 days of treatment before they'll reevaluate and see if she's ready for trial yet. So this is going to be on hold for quite a while. But that doesn't mean she's going to get off on these charges. She is not. She is not. There's no way.
I don't know the name of whoever evaluated her.
I do.
Okay. I do.
But it's not public yet, so I'm not going to make it public. But he is definitely well credentialed and highly respected in his field. So there's that. Janet Condon says it could be possible I just lost the call. Okay. It could be possible she suffered a panic attack after reading her charges. Nope. That didn't trigger this because this has been in the works since March. All right. So this has been in the works for a while. And certainly, if you don't believe me and you don't believe the expert, listen to what Colby said. Her own son says this is happening in his interview last night with Justin Lump. So, there are a lot of people who know Lori, like her attorney, her son, the evaluator, the judge, who are all saying, yeah, this is an issue. Remember the judge himself, Judge Boyce, saw the information, saw the report, had the fitness hearing, and he thinks, okay, yeah, there's an issue. We need to put a stay in the case. There's some problems here. So if she's fooling, you guys think, oh, she's fooling. She's not just fooling one person. She'd have to be fooling the judges, the experts, her lawyers, her family. So don't jump to that conclusion. It is possible that she is actually incompetent and she needs treatment. So, they will have to get her treatment. And then maybe we can have a nice fair trial. Do you want this to go to trial right now? And then she gets off on a conviction because she can go back and say, hey, I was incompetent. Do you want that to happen? No way. No way. We want to get this ironed out now so that when she does go to trial and if she is convicted, it will stand and it cannot be appealed. So think of it that way too. Let's get this out of the way now so she doesn't have grounds for appeal later. Big deal. That's a big deal. Do you agree, Jess?
Yeah. It's so hard to read some of these comments. The same people who think Mark Means is the stupidest lawyer to have ever been born now think that Mark Means has manipulated and fixed us all up himself. I don't think Mark Means is smart enough to put all this together, to be quite honest.
No. Remember,
I mean,
this
he just
Mark
the same thing, you know.
Mark Means can't make the determination. Okay, he cannot. Janet kind of has a good. This is good. What leads up to incompetence? Good question, Janet. Any court official, whether it's the judge, either attorney on either side, people like that can go to the judge and say, "Hey, judge, we think there's something wrong here. There's a competency issue," and the judge has to listen to their arguments and say, "Okay, go get an evaluation." Right. So first, there was enough information brought to the judge where the Judge Boyce himself said, "Yeah, you know what? I think this does warrant an evaluation." Okay, so the judge did see some red flags. All right, so then Lori has the evaluation with a state-sanctioned expert. Okay, a forensic psychologist who is trained in how to spot these things, who is trained how to spot malingering and faking and all of that. And the expert worked with her for a period of weeks. That can be up to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and came back with his report. His report to the judge, not to Mark Means, to the judge says, yes, I find competency issues in this case. I don't think at this point in time she is competent to take part in her defense. So the judge rules it. The judge listens to it. He works on the issue. He really thinks about it, and he makes his own decision. All right. Now, the decision that the judge has made right now is to say, okay, Mr. Wood, do you wish to contest this? And Rob Wood says, yes, I do. Okay, so what's going to happen next? Rob Wood's going to get his own expert. They're going to look at the report. They're going to talk about it to the judge, and they will reevaluate Lori if necessary. And then the judge will look at both reports, and they'll argue it out in court. And the judge will determine if he thinks Lori is incompetent. And if Judge Boyce thinks that she is, there's some weight to that, guys. Judge Boyce is not going to be bowled over by Mark Means. You know, he's not. He's going to look at it logically and by the letter of the law. And if the judge rules she's incompetent, then she has to go for treatment, which can be 60 to 90 days for the first round to see, you know, if she can be restored to competency, right? And if so, great, then the trial will proceed. If not, then we have to deal with other issues. But that will come up months from now. All right, so take a deep breath.
I
Lori
don't know.
She will.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know if we're not explaining it well enough or people are just joining and getting the tail end of it. There's a difference between an insanity plea and a competency issue. She's been found incompetent to help her lawyer in a trial right now. They can't question her. They can't offer her a plea deal. She can't even say if she's guilty or not. So anything that Colby said about her knowing right from wrong, that's an insanity plea, and that's not even on the table in this state. It doesn't matter if she knew right from wrong. She's responsible for the death if she had anything to do with it in the state of Idaho. That's not what we're even talking about. Yeah, I do believe she knew right from wrong. That has nothing to do with competency. Right now, she is saying, I can't tell you who to talk to. I can't answer questions. I can't talk to you about legal issues.
All right,
So
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. Amanda Metcalf tells me to read Cresha's comments because I'm being insensitive. I am not. And read Cresha's comments. She's saying, why are you all focused on Mark Means? I don't think Cresha's yelling at me. What we're saying is, this is not about Mark Means. I'm saying that. This has nothing to do with Mark Means. This has to do with the psychiatric evaluators, the judge, and the court system. Okay, so calm down. Jess, why don't we just ignore some of the more ridiculous comments in chat because we're going to get bogged down in that. Let's just focus on the news. Cresha knows where my head is at and my heart is at. Yeah. Don't try putting a wedge between me and Cresha. That's not going to happen. So quit it. If you're in chat doing that, mods, please just block them because we're not having it. Okay, let's talk about the news.
Just last statement. If you guys think that Idaho has bungled her competency thing. I guarantee you Arizona's going to hire somebody because of these charges, because she has not been found incompetent in Arizona yet. There will
Mm-mm.
be a whole nother evaluation, and I guarantee you they will come from Arizona.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's a whole lot of people to bungle.
Yep.
So anyway,
Lori
this
Schillen,
is a good day. Good day.
Lori Schillen, I'm sorry if I pronounced that right. Schillen is asking about the incompetency video I made. Salty Idaho has been linking to it. I'm sure she'll get to it again. It is here on my channel. It's incompetency versus insanity. I even forget what I titled it, but it is on my channel. And I explain the entire process, even historical legal precedents. So a lot of the Supreme Court rulings and things that have impacted it. There you go. She just linked it right there. Please have a watch of that video because I really get into why this is not insanity and has nothing to do with insanity, nothing to do with guilt or innocence. All right. This is about her current mental state and issues that have to be addressed by the court so she can have a fair trial, which is what we all want. We all want a fair trial so that when she gets that conviction, she is never, ever getting out on appeal. So there we go. Now let's go back to Charles. All right. Because that's the, to me, that's almost a bigger story. All right. Lori's incompetent, whatever. They'll fix that. Charles Vallow. He was murdered. It was not self-defense. It was not. And now we have charges for Lori, conspiracy to commit murder, which can really bring the same penalty as first-degree murder. So this is amazing. This is great news. Jess, every time I think about that, I just read the words on the screen. I get really happy.
No, I cannot imagine how happy that has to make Kay and Larry and Cresha. I can't even imagine the vindication for that. And we might see some more people dragged in.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I'm hoping for.
Let me clarify a little bit about what's going on in Arizona. She hasn't been formally charged. Okay. They have to either go get a grand jury indictment or a preliminary hearing type style thing. But the Chandler Police Department has turned over their information to the DA for conspiracy to commit murder for Charles. So that is amazing. Justin's earlier tweets, they did mention that, but it was a little vague. And unfortunately, I said she has been formally charged. But the charges are there. Conspiracy to commit murder on Lori for Charles Vallow's death. Now, one thing that I have done, and I'll do it again right now, I have played a little bit of the video, the 22-second audio clip. I'm going to play it again because this is Melanie Gibb talking about the murder of Charles Vallow. And I'm like, this could not be more timely right now. This is pretty impactful. So let me get it up on your screen. And I'll play it. Turn your volume up for this part because it is quiet and it's up as high as I can make it on my end. So, Lori Vallow Daybell case. Let me stream it to you. Share screen. Share audio. I did make the video public again. I know some people are going to be mad about that and they're going to give me crap and whatever. I'll take it because this audio clip I think is incredibly important to what we're seeing today. All right. So is it on your screen? Jess, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to hit play. Volume up. Here we go. It's only 22 seconds.
So, and Alex, bless his heart, who passed away, he just thought he was doing a favor to his sister. He didn't really care so much, about Charles or this or that, but he just thought he was helping her.
Did she ask him to kill him?
Well, self-defense, yes. Well, they planned it. I mean,
So, did she ask her to kill him? Well, to self-defense. Lori asked him to self-defense it. Yeah, that's not a thing, Melanie Gibb. Oh, goodness. But yeah, it was planned. It was premeditated. That's it. It is about dang time someone is standing up for Charles. Jess, I'm so happy about
Melanie. I can't. Y'all, you are at the wrong channel if you're here to talk about how great Melanie is. I'm
that.
sorry.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
That's not what's getting ready to come out of my mouth. You know what the best part is about this Arizona case to me?
What's that?
Juan Martinez won't be the prosecutor.
That is good. That is good. Yes. Yes.
Oh, God, I can't stand that guy. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I have the whole phone call. It is not public at this time. I don't think I will make the whole thing public. But Melanie Gibb talks about when she went to see Charles that night that he texted her from Lori's phone, according to her. And he was crying and hugging her and begging her to help with Lori. He said, Lori's crazy. I need your help. And she was like, oh, bye. And she knew they were planning to kill him, and she did nothing. She could have helped, but she did not. So don't come at me with Melanie Gibb is sweet and innocent. She knew it was going to happen. She even left the house the day before so Alex could come in so it could happen, and she wouldn't be there when it happened. She was setting up her own alibi. So no, Melanie Gibb is not the sweetness and light that we think she is. So, but her testimony about knowing that it was planned can certainly help in that case. So I hope she will do the right thing now. I do.
Absolutely. But I bet you she's getting another subpoena right about now.
Yes, Kresha, your uncle cried to her and hugged her and begged her for help, and she did nothing except lie. She lied. Remember, she sat in the Chandler Police Department with Lori and Tylee and lied. And also dropped Jason Mao's name, which I still think is very interesting. And maybe that's why he is on the subpoena for Melanie Gibb. So there's that.
Yes, Juan Martinez has been disbarred. That's why I'm happy he's out of that one. Because it is Maricopa County.
Yep. My goodness.
It makes me happy that it's conspiracy to murder, because it means if some more people were involved, allegedly, because we have to say that, you know, they might get wrangled up in this too. You just never know what all's coming out of the woodwork right now.
Yep. And let's also remember
such a crazy week.
The shooting investigation regarding the shots that were fired at Brandon Boudreaux is also still open. That case is still open. We know from the indictment that the state has said straight out, Alex was the one who shot at Tammy. So are we going to see that go forward in this case too? Because sure, if Alex was the one to shoot at Brandon, who told him to? He didn't come up with that on his own. So that could be a whole nother conspiracy to commit murder or conspiracy for attempted murder, whatever that happens. But
accessory, whatever.
I think all of this is starting to come down now. I don't think they're going to get away with any of it. Jess, do you?
No, I don't. And that's not true that Joe Ryan was dead before Melanie came in the picture. That's not true.
We don't know that for sure. A lot of the information that I have found calls that into question. And I personally think that Melanie was involved in Lori's life before Joe was killed. But it hasn't been proven. There's a lot more work that needs to be done. And this is why you guys why do you want Melanie investigated? This is why. Because she was in on so much of it from her own mouth. This isn't me making an allegation or me making well, I think so-and-so. This is from Melanie Gibb's own mouth. She knew about all these deaths. So, right there, she's got to be on that stand. She should be in jail, I think,
We're not on a witch hunt for Melanie. That is not what's going on here. When we say we want justice for Tylee, it's as basic as that. Justice means everybody who was involved in the murder of Charles and those babies is held responsible and accountable, and they pay whatever a jury of their peers decides they need to pay. You don't get justice for the murder of people if only the people in the spotlight are the ones that get charged. You want everybody that had something to do with those three people not being on this earth locked up and held accountable. If those were your kids, I highly doubt you would only want the person who shot the gun and not the other three that tied him up, held him down, drove the car, made the idea, got away with it. That's not justice. Justice is also not charging people who are not responsible. If they find out that Melanie or any of the other players had nothing to do with it, I don't want to see them charged. But if they did, I do.
Yep. Now, Mad Marsha, we got into it a little bit last night, but I had to give up and go to sleep. I was too tired. She says, no bother to charge someone you can't get a conviction on. I'm assuming you're talking about Melanie Gibb. And I'm seeing conspiracy charges. I'm seeing accessory after the fact. I'm seeing all kinds of charges. she could get hit with. So, don't be too strong on that opinion. You may see something different happen. This investigations are all still ongoing. More charges could come at any day. And certainly, if the state looks really, really into Melanie Gibb, they may find some things. They may. Jason Mao is another people prepper in Israel. Yep, he was a police officer in Arizona. He was fired. He was removed from his position as a police officer for issues. Melanie Gibb drops his name all over the place, which his name should not be coming up where it does. So he needs to be looked at too. Absolutely. I'm not saying any of these people are guilty, but I'm saying if I have enough information to be incredibly suspicious, hopefully the state does too, and they're looking, I have a question, random question. Amanda Thompson, I see you. Hi there. How are you doing? I'm glad you're here. Jess asked me the other day to consider asking you to be a mod. Would you like to be a mod? We would like to have you as a mod here on the channel, but I figure I should ask you before I do it. So
give her a wrench.
So yeah, give me an answer in chat, and I'll give you a wrench. Pre-Sue asks, is that the whole audio? No, the entire audio is 53 minutes long. I am not making it public. Certainly, the back half of the audio is very personal for the woman that recorded it, and I will not do that to her. I will not make that part public. That's way too personal. The first half, though, is mostly Melanie Gibb just blabbing stuff she probably should not be saying, but she did. Amanda says yes. Yay.
Yay.
Welcome to the team, Amanda. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so...
But yeah, another thing this will probably force them to sever Chad and Lori's case because Chad doesn't have a reason to be stalled and Lori does at this point. But I've expected that all along. I didn't think they'd go together.
You've been expecting the motion for severance and they got the motion for joinder,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I expect that is going to happen on or before June 9th. And Chad's case is going to continue. So that's exciting. But yes, Lori's been found incompetent. Charges have been delivered to the DA from the Chandler Police Department, their investigation of Charles's murder. So that's ready to go. Hopefully that's going to drop any second now. But yeah, we are starting. Guys, we are really actually looking at justice for all of these people right now. We've been talking about this case since December of 2019. Yeah. And here we are now. We're like, Charles, finally, we may get some movement for Charles. Tammy, we now know the state believes Tammy was murdered. We all thought that, but now it's real.
It gives them a reason to go look at Alex's death. No matter how you feel about him, it will make them go relook at his autopsy and Joe Ryan's just to make sure some weird things aren't lining up. I mean, we don't know what's coming down the pike. I guess some of the main questions we have are what we're expecting to see. Lori's broke. This is another state. I'm expecting obviously she's going to claim they'll have to find her incompetent in Arizona, indigent. She'll get a public defender because we don't think Mark Means can practice in Arizona unless he's on the bar there.
He might be. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
We'll find
that's
out.
One of the questions I have. To see whether or not Mark can represent her. Arizona is a death penalty state. We know that. That's an interesting idea to think about.
Yep.
And are they going to wrangle anybody else in? That's a big deal, you guys. That's a huge deal. Yep. But all in all, I know everybody's kind of bogged down on her being found incompetent, but today's news is good. It's a good news day.
It is. It is.
The wheels of justice are finally moving.
Kat Stallsworth has a question. She says, maybe Lori Vallow asked Melanie Gibb to leave the house the day before because she didn't trust her to stick to the story they planned. That's possible because maybe Melanie Gibb was really flighty. I don't know what Lori thought, but she was asked to leave the house by Lori, and she did leave. So that right there implies that she was apprised of the plan and why she would have to leave. So, and she says herself, she knew it was planned. So to me, that makes Melanie an accessory or part of the conspiracy or whatever legal thing that is, but that's a legal thing that she should be held accountable for.
Another thing, I know you guys probably think I'm crazy because I want to know who's at that dang pool party. But in my brain, and we went live as soon as this went on the news, so I didn't have time to look back at it. If she was at that pool party and she was there before he was killed. It will prove that she lied about some other things because if I'm not mistaken, in her interview, I'm not sure who the interview was with now, which one it was. She says she didn't know Charles was murdered for a while, that Charles had died. Like she hadn't talked to her. And didn't Lori call her and say, "Did you hear about what happened to Charles?" And she's like, "Oh no, I don't watch the news."
Mm-hmm.
That will
That
prove
was
that she lied about that too.
that was a bald-faced lie. I mean, maybe she doesn't watch the news, but she knew about it. So, and we've got her on tape saying that. The state has it. They've got this tape. They've had it for much longer than I have. So that they've listened to it and they're picking through it. So, Melanie Gibb, if I were you, I'd get a dang lawyer. For sure. For sure.
Rob Wood ain't going to help you in Arizona. I'm telling
Yep.
you that. And for anybody who's hung up about is Rob Wood or any of the other people, are they LDS? Is the judge LDS? Are they going to let her go? It ain't going to happen in Arizona. It's a whole nother group of people.
Yep. Here's the best comment I've seen. Miss Wee Lassie says, I'd much rather see the incompetency brought to the forefront now than have it be used later as an excuse for a mistrial and because now then she can be brought to notice. So yeah, I bungled your comment, sorry. But that's exactly what I feel. Let's hash this out now. Let's give it to the court. I trust the court. I trust Judge Edens. I trust Judge Boyce to see through any baloney and to look at this seriously and make the proper determination. Trust the court, okay? Everything we've seen from Judge Boyce is he is incredibly fair, but he is incredibly stuck to the rule of law, all right? He is not going to side with one party or the other because he likes them. That's not Judge Boyce. So trust it. Trust it, okay? Trust the courts. And we don't have an official determination. It's not like the court has ruled her incompetent yet. One of the experts has. Now the court is taking up the issue. Rob Wood will challenge it. We'll see what his expert comes back with. And then it'll go forward from there, whether she'll have to go to treatment or the judge says, you know what? No, she's not incompetent. Let's go. We're moving. So trust Judge Boyce to make the right decision. All right. So take a deep breath. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's BS. She's faking. I don't believe that because it's really hard to fool an expert trained in spotting malingering. So she's not that smart. Don't give her that much credit. So we'll see. But yeah, Jill says, I completely support the incompetency delay. Better for a solid trial. Yeah, let's get it out of the way now. Let's argue it out. Let them try. Let the defense throw everything they have at the wall right now. And the judge shoot it all down. Or fix it if she needs treatment, something like that. So that later on, they can't come back and say, well, we need an appeal because blah, blah, blah. Because the judge can say, no, because we dealt with that. Sorry, no appeal for you. That's what we want. No appeals.
Just think about it from a strategy point. If you guys think she's making it up or this is a delay tactic, think about this. Chad is going to go on to trial. They can find him guilty. That makes their case against Lori stronger because a jury has already found Chad guilty. That will have a lot of weight on jurors who eventually see Lori. Number two, it gives them longer to investigate. This is not a bad thing. I mean,
that's a good point.
It would be stupid for Mark Means to be convincing her to go for this and drag it out because it's going to be really damning when they find Chad guilty and then she goes to trial after him. You would want them to have very little time and no previous convictions if you want to convince people she didn't do it or wasn't in on it.
Yeah, and here's a good point. Wendy says, Letitia Stout wasn't able to fake incompetency. Remember, Letitia tried to say she was incompetent, right? So her attorneys had her evaluated, wasn't it, twice? And she tried very hard to pretend to be incompetent. And they're like, no, lady, stop. She still tried. Yes, sitting in her wheelchair, chasing invisible butterflies around her room. She is still trying to manipulate the court to make it look like she's incompetent. But the court said, this is just theatrics. We're moving forward. So trust the judge. The judge saw through Letitia Stout's attempts. So if Lori's faking it, trust the judge to see through that too. Okay.
Letitia had two judges, and Judge Bain said it was the most comprehensive competency evaluation he had ever seen in all of his years on the bench. So that's saying something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And all these people saying, oh, Lori's faking it, all this. You're still saying that in chat. Are you a seasoned forensic psychologist who is skilled in criminal evaluations? Are you? Because if you are, let me know. I'd like to talk to you. If you're not, I don't want to hear it. Okay. You don't know better than these experts who are saying these things. And it'll be dealt with in court. Let the judge say whether he thinks it's true or not. Let the lawyers bring their experts forward to duke it out. Let's trust them, not our own personal opinions from little news clips that we've seen over the years. Okay. Let's trust the court.
This is like a checkmate, guys. Or a stalemate, not a checkmate. This is a stalemate. Until they release the documents from her evaluation or this goes to trial and we hear about it, we are not going to be able to convince you that she's not competent, and you're not going to be able to convince me that she is, because we don't have any more documents. All we know is she's been found incompetent by the state, by the evaluators, and Rob Wood is going to challenge it. So if she is faking, you had better dang believe Rob Wood is probably going to get a second and a third opinion.
Yep.
So it will be found. I do trust
And he should.
our legal system.
He should. I want Rob Wood, because the more experts that look at it, and what if they all come back with the same thing, right? Then that makes it like ironclad, so we don't have appeals. But if she's faking it, they will know. They'll figure it out. These are not stupid people. Okay. Forensic psychologists are trained in this kind of stuff, especially if they have connections with the Department of Corrections. They do this all the time. And that video I mentioned earlier, Jim Can't Swim, has a long video on people who have tried to fake insanity and incompetency for their cases. And they were like, yeah, no, not at all. And here's a good point from that. Right. I watched the whole video. One point that he raised early on made me go, oh. Somebody was trying to be insane or trying to pretend to be insane. Actually, no, this is one from that video. Oh my God, I just almost told a personal story that I can't tell. I'm sorry. That was not in that video.
You are so funny.
Wow.
You are so funny. You will see somebody whose insanity and competence were tested over and over and over. Go back and watch the Tim Jones Jr. trial. They spent almost $500,000 in 4 years arguing back and forth and didn't get away with it. And guys, she's not going anywhere. I'll just reiterate that. She's still going to sit in jail, so she's not getting out of it. If she convinces them that she needs a psych prison or a psych hospital, that is no walk through the park either. Would you want to? I mean, really, she is in a jail about the size of a postage stamp with 7 or 8 people in there. If you were Lori Vallow, knowing what we know about her, would you want to be locked in a mental hospital or a mental prison surrounded by people just like her?
No, a mental hospital is not a vacation club. That is not fun. So,
no.
Robbie from ABQ, thank you for the super chat and the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Let's see. Texas Gina asks, Awen, do you think Melanie knew about the plans to murder JJ and Tylee? Yes, I do personally think that. There's more of that in the phone call. Jess and I talked about that in a video we did last weekend. Have a watch of that. We go through all the things Melanie said in the phone call and what they mean. And she certainly knew they were planning to kill JJ. But when Lori hinted that Tylee may no longer with us, she was not the least bit surprised, which lets me know she may have had an inkling about Tylee as well. And she definitely knew about Tammy. So there you go. That's from her own mouth. She says that. So I need that video. I really need that audio call to be public. I really want to bring it to you and be like, listen, don't take my word for it. Here it is. But there are so many reasons why I just can't do that right now. When and if I feel I have to do it, I will, but not right now. So that's all I can say about that tape. But yeah, she knew. Jess, what do you think?
Oh, I think there were a lot of people that knew. I don't think it just goes to Alex and Lori and Chad. I think there was a lot of people that knew. And even if they didn't help or didn't participate, they didn't go to the police.
Yep.
And that's a problem too.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't help it. As a mother, if these were my kids, I'm telling you, I would have that police department, the investigators, ripping the rafters and the baseboards up until they found every person that maybe overheard them talking about killing my baby and make sure that they are hauled into court. I'm not kidding.
Mad Marcia, I never said I thought Melanie was a murderer. I don't think she was physically involved in any of the murders, more or less. But if she had foreknowledge, if she helped them cover it up after the end, that's conspiracy and accessory, and she should be charged with that. That is illegal. Your best friend cannot tell you they're about to kill someone, and you're like, oh, okay, not do anything, and then they say, oh, yep, well, we killed them. They end up dead, ha ha ha, and then not tell anyone after the fact. You can't do that. That is illegal. That is conspiracy. That is accessory. That is accomplice. That is all that stuff. So Melanie Gibb, from what I can see and everything I have learned, absolutely should have criminal charges for her involvement. That is my
For
opinion.
crying out loud, she
Man.
told the police that she had JJ
Yes, she
for
did.
10 days. She lied to police, and they quit. I'm not quit. I don't want to say they quit searching for him.
They did
But
not
she
quit. No.
completely let them go down that wild goose chase and waste time,
Yeah.
thinking he was in Arizona with her or Utah, where I don't remember if she went back to David's or whatever. I think she went back to Arizona. That's craziness.
Yeah.
That is craziness.
Now, Jill asked a good question. And Jess, before I ask it, we can't get really deep into this. So I know you and I have had huge talks about this. We can't do that here. But Jess says, how does personal grooming go into incompetency? She's always presented as a vain woman. Incompetency doesn't translate to a psychotic break. Well, she says psychic break, but we're talking about psychosis. And Jill, yes, it actually does. And her grooming is certainly part of that psychological assessment. We can't really get into the finer details of that right now because we have to wait for
She's
more.
not talking about that.
Right. What's she talking about?
She's talking about Lori showed up to court with her hair done and her eyebrows done, and she looks normal because a lot of people are commenting about it. How is she incompetent, but she can take care of herself? I believe, just based on the comments before it. I could be wrong, though.
All right. Well, let me put it this way. And this may seem
people that look good.
This may seem a little insulting, and I don't mean to go all gray hues on y'all, but think of it this way. You got up this morning, you brushed your teeth, you did your hair, you put on a nice outfit. Maybe you went to Starbucks and got a coffee. You managed to drive your car and get home, right? You can do all that stuff. But that doesn't mean if I sit here and say there's a difference between incompetency and insanity and da-da-da, and here's the legal precedent, you may not understand that, okay? You may not understand the Supreme Court ruling in 1960 that led to the incompetency standards, right? But does that mean you're incompetent? It means you would be incompetent to take part in a defense if that was your case, but you can still get dressed and brush your hair, right? You can still put on makeup. You can still do things. So just because Lori can still walk and talk and function does not mean she has any idea what's happening in the court proceeding or she can help her attorney bring forth her case. There are two bars that the Supreme Court set for competency. Two things. Number one, they have to have an awareness of the proceedings. They don't have to understand it to the point of where a lawyer would understand it, but they have to say, oh, the state thinks I did bad things and they want to charge me. Okay. They've got to at least understand that, right? But then they also have to be able to take part in their defense. They have to be able to have a coherent conversation with their attorney about their case. So the attorney can say, did you do this? And they'll say yes or no. Well, why did you do it? Well, how did you do it? What do you know? They have to be able to talk to their attorney. All right. So those are the bars for incompetency if they can't do those two things. That's what's happening. And an expert has ruled Lori is not competent to do those two things. Now it's before the court. Judge Boyce is going to hear from experts all over the place and make the determination. That's all that means. It still means she can do her hair and whatever it is she does, with her Skittles lipstick. Although yesterday she was wearing a mask, maybe to hide the Skittles lipstick, or who knows. But
who knows? But I mean, think about how many people that we have seen go to trial who have been ruled had postpartum psychosis. I mean, not postpartum depression, full-on psychosis. How many of those got up, got ready, went and did a press conference claiming their kids were missing? And they have full-blown psychosis.
mm-hmm.
Shoot, just think about me after I had a baby. I could brush my hair and put on makeup in my sleep. I could feed and diaper him in my sleep. I definitely wasn't competent most of the time. No sleep, eating chicken
Okay.
nuggets and crazy.
Here's a question in chat, a legal question that I got so many questions about yesterday. Yesterday when we saw her appearance, right? We know that the judge ruled that there are exigent circumstances leading to the necessity to stay her case, right? Judge Eden said that. Now everyone's coming at me like, what's an exigent circumstance? Does that mean she's insane or something? No, exigent. An exigent circumstance means that there's something pressing or demanding or important. Okay. That means that something's happening in the case that they have to address first before her case goes forward. So that's all it means. All right. So just look up the word exigent and that'll make more sense. An exigent circumstance is not a specific thing. All right. You're not going to look up exigent circumstance and it's going to say, oh, Lori's incompetent. No. Although that is the exigent circumstance in this case, but that itself is not a specific term for a specific thing. Emergent, yes, emergent, pressing, demanding, important. That's what exigent means. So that's all Judge Edens was saying is like, hey, there are exigent circumstances here that need to be addressed before we can proceed with Lori's charges, so on and so forth. So, and he was deferring to all the stuff going on with Judge Boyce. And both judges say, okay, something's happening here. We got to look at this first. All right. So if both judges are saying that, there's got to be something to it. All right. Or at least
the key. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like the key part of that is it's happening now. This is not a claim that she's had since she's been arrested. This has happened recently. This does not go back to when she was arrested and she's, looking at butterflies and not saying anything to anybody. This is a new thing. Well, relatively new since March. So anything she said before that, will still be used against her, whatever talks that she had or whatever.
Yep. Finder Oregon says the state's indictment also stated co-conspirators and didn't name them. So we know the state has more on other people involved. Yep. Rob Wood has said that. He said that in an earlier hearing, like 6 to 8 months ago. I forget which hearing it was. It might even have been the prelim, where he talks about other co-conspirators, both named and unnamed. All right. So Rob Wood, he knows that it's not just Alex, Lori, and Chad. He knows that. But he hasn't brought forth any of that information yet. But in every filing he makes where he talks about co-conspirators, he leaves that door wide open to other names coming through. So I love when he says that because it's like, yes, he has not forgotten. It's not just that. It was at the prelim. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, he knows. Rob Wood knows that there's not just them. Will we ever see charges? Maybe. We're going to have to wait and see. I really hope, I really hope. Oh.
That's just great. Maybe that's why Julie Rowe's on the run. I still haven't confirmed that, guys. But whoever told us that she was on the run, I laughed at. My husband looked at me a couple of times because I busted out laughing yesterday, just thinking about her, going down the road in a white Bronco like OJ with her ribbon twirlers out the window. But if you have to tell people you are on the run, you are not on the run.
You're probably not on the run. Yep. Lori Schillen says, did something traumatic happen in late February, early March that could have broken her? I can't think what was happening. It's quite possible. It is quite possible because we remember the March 8th hearing is when this kind of started with the court. So this has been going on for a while. What was that?
Isn't that when Colby moved back to Rexburg?
Oh, maybe.
Never know.
I don't know. We have no idea if that's part of it. So
no, I don't know.
But So, all right, to recap, some people are saying they just got here and they don't know what's going on. Chandler Police Department has finished their investigation of Charles Vallow's death. They have referred the case over to the DA, Maricopa County DA, with suggesting Charles was murdered and conspiracy to commit murder charges for Lori Vallow Daybell. That is... I don't know. That makes me so happy. When we got the indictments for Tammy, JJ, and Tylee, that made me profoundly sad, even though we wanted to see it. And I was glad we saw them. But seeing it in black and white, that Tammy was actually murdered. Knowing that Alex actually shot at Tammy. Knowing that they had premeditated the murders of both children. That made me so sad. Because it's not like I didn't know that. but seeing it in black and white just made it it was heartbreaking. I was so sad after that. So excited, elated we've got charges, absolutely, but it made it so real and so much more evil. It's one thing to think about it in your mind. Oh, it must have been premeditated. Oh, wow, they're evil. But to see it in black and white like that was like, wow, this is an evil that you don't often encounter in life. It's that bad. So I had a hard reaction to the indictments. But this, knowing that Charles, she's going to face murder charges for Charles, that makes me want to stand up and sing, because Charles was so let down by everyone, by Gabe Bonilla, the bishop, by the law enforcement, by Community Bridges that did Lori's Val. All of these people let him down. And he was murdered, and he had been screaming from the rooftops, help, this crazy woman wants to kill me. And nobody did anything. And that breaks my brain. It breaks my brain.
Not only that, but he honestly wanted to help Lori. It wasn't just a plead for him. He wasn't saying, well, I mean, he was telling him she said she was going to kill him or destroy him or he was somebody else. He wanted her locked up and to get a mental evaluation. He wanted to help Lori. I think that makes it 10 times sadder that he, even though she was hell-bent and determined to destroy him, in her words, he still wanted to help her.
Yep. And Deborah Wilson is telling us to move on. No, this is what we're talking about today. Charles's murder and Lori's incompetency. Yeah. What would you like to talk about?
Boy, this is about, she's been found incompetent and charges are coming for Charles's conspiracy to commit murder. That's what the thing is titled. What do you want to talk about?
Yep. Deborah Wilson, I am watching chat, so please let me know what you'd like to talk about next, and we'll talk about it, possibly.
I'm making meatloaf for dinner. I mean, we can talk about that for a while if you want. I'm going to make some of my best banana pudding and sweet tea and mashed potatoes and green beans with bacon in it. We can talk about that if you want.
That sounds wonderful. Guys, I have something new. Should we talk about that thing that we were talking about today in our research group? Can we talk about that yet?
Yep.
You think so? All right. There is a name. I know that we all like to be, internet sleuths and stuff. So I'm going to give you a name that I think you should go look at today. I don't know what the level of involvement is, but this is someone who is involved with Julie Rowe, involved with her charity thing that she has. Whatever. But the name just came to me the other day, and I'm like, well, I've never heard that name before. So we've started looking, and this is something we all might want to be looking at. All right. The name is, I forget the name now. Let me pull up my thing. Let's look at, the name is Joel Gervine. All right. Joel Gervine. I'm going to put something on your screen to show you, make sure there's no information that can't be public. Yep, that looks fine. I'm going to put something on your screen. Joel Gervine is involved with Julie Rowe and her charity thing. Okay. He is listed here as the vice president of the trustee of her disaster preparedness and relief thingy. Okay, with Julie Rowe as president, Eric Smith as secretary, Joel Gervine as vice president. All right. I want you guys to look at him. Go do what you do and find what you can find. This just came to me. That's pretty much all I've got to go on, although I do believe Chandler Police Department at one time wanted to have a discussion with Joel Gervine. Let's find out why. Okay, now that may be me throwing a name out there and all that stuff and da-da-da, but I want to know everything we can know about this. And because if there's some involvement with Charles's murder, I want to know, because, man, who is this guy? I've never heard of him. Never heard of him.
For you guys asking, my really good banana pudding recipe is on our Discord server. It's life-changing. I'm telling you now.
Yep. Gurvine. Let me put it in chat.
Gervine. I thought you were talking about something else. I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Somebody asked about how to spell.
No, I didn't see this Julie Rowe thing. I thought you were talking about something else.
Okay. Joel Gervine. That is the person. Now, certainly, I'm calling him out as being the vice president of Julie Rowe's kind of crazy charity thing. I want to know about that. He's public. He's publicly on the record as her vice president. There's a connection there, so let's look at that up. Okay. Yep, the Tim Ballard thing, that's a whole nother thing. But the Joel Gervine is certainly is timely because now we're talking about Charles's death, and that's what this has to do with it. So, let's look that up. So there's a project for today of Joel Gervine. Oh,
For the
goodness.
5 people that just joined, quick recap. Lori's been found incompetent in Idaho. Rob Wood is contesting that finding. Arizona Police, the county, Maricopa County, is handed over documents to charge Lori with conspiracy to commit murder for Charles.
Yep.
That's the news today.
Justin posted the order. Did he post the actual arrest warrant? Oh, no, just the order about the incompetency. Okay. Yeah, I did have that up on the screen. It is available in Discord. It's on the court website. It's everywhere. So if you want to read more about now it's just the judge's order. Actually, let me read that. We haven't read it yet. And it is important. So, Chrome tab, order. Okay, I'm going to read this real quick. It's pretty short. Let me open my PDF. Can you see it? I don't know why it's blurry on YouTube lately. That's been happening for the past 2 weeks.
Problems with me too. Yeah.
All right, so let me read it. On March 8th, 2021, right, remember what I've been saying all day, the March 8th hearing. The court, under seal, entered an order for competency evaluation pursuant to blah, 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 as to defendant Lori Noreen Vallow, a.k.a. Daybell, in case number blah, blah, blah. The evaluation was ordered after the defendant's fitness to proceed was drawn into question by counsel. Pursuant to blah, 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 this case was stayed from further proceedings pending a determination of the defendant's competency. Thereafter, the court and counsel for the parties received the completed psychological assessment prepared by a licensed clinical psychologist who is qualified pursuant to blah, blah, blah to inform such an assessment. The completed assessment determined that at this time, the defendant is not competent to proceed and recommends restorative treatment. The court has now been advised that the state contests the finding of the report. Therefore, the court will schedule a hearing on the issue pursuant to blah, 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 and the stay in the case remains in effect pending the determination of the issue of competency. All right, so that's the judge saying, somebody said to the court, oh, we don't think Lori's competent. The judge said, okay, let's go get an evaluation. They picked the evaluator. He is sanctioned and qualified by the state to do this type of evaluation. He came back and said, Lori's not competent. Rob Wood said, I'm going to fight it. The judge said, okay, you do your thing, Rob Wood. We're going to have a hearing. We'll hash it all out. And then the final determination will be made by the court if Lori is incompetent, in which she will proceed to restorative treatment. They will try psychological treatment. That can be pharmacological, therapeutic, etc., to try and restore competency. Remember, the entire focus of an incompetency hearing thing is to restore competency. Okay, they can get her back, they can help her, they can bring her back into competency so she meets that bar. And the bar for competency is very, very low. It doesn't take much to be competent. So they will be able to fix her, get her back on track, get the case back on track. So that's what's happening with that. And remember, this is not about insanity. This has nothing to do with an insanity plea. Insanity is not a legal defense in Idaho. And this issue, competency, has zero to do with guilt or innocence. Okay, this is not about that. So please go watch my video on the difference between insanity and incompetency. I explain that in great detail, as well as the procedure that's going to follow from this. Okay, so there you go.
Aaron Gemini. Rob Wood, I promise you, was not patting Lori's hand yesterday.
Rob Wood? No.
Yeah, I promise you that did not happen. And the doctor who's done this evaluation's name has not been released. So,
right.
And Rob Wood is contesting it. So anybody who thinks it needs to be done by a woman, Rob has obviously brought on a woman. So it wouldn't surprise me to see whoever he hires be a woman. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. I'm removing a comment. That's crazy. All right, so those are our news for today. Kat says it makes it worse because Charles Vallow was trying to get her help because he loved her. Yeah, Kat, he really was. He wanted to get her help. He didn't want Lori to go away. He wanted her to get better so they could resume their relationship. He wanted to help her. He wasn't trying to get her arrested and locked in jail. He wanted to get her for a psych hold. He said she needs help. He kept saying, help her, help her, help her. And they didn't listen to him. Now she did have a psychological order that Charles managed to get, that where she would have had to have been evaluated. But the only information we have about that, most of it comes from Melanie Gibb, that she went in, she sat in the waiting room for a couple hours, she had a 10-minute interview, and then she left and they said she was fine. That's not an evaluation. It's really not. Now what's happened here for her competency, which is not quite the same thing, has taken place since March. This is a long process. It is a long, extremely thorough evaluation. And now we're going to have to wait and hear what Rob Wood's expert comes up with. So.
And no, it's not somebody picked by Mark Means. It's a court appointed by the judge doctor who found her incompetent.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sorry, doing some chat stuff. People are getting a little worked up in chat. So we're going to hear more about the incompetency soon. Please go watch the video that I put up, because it'll make a lot more sense to you as what's happening now, what's going to happen, the next month from now, why it's happening, what it means. It's not an insanity defense, so don't worry. She's going to have to stand trial for these charges. They may have to fix her first, and that's what they're trying to do. But they're doing it so that she can stand trial, not so that she can get off on it, not so that she can, go weave baskets the rest of her life. No, they want her to stand trial. The goal of the court is to get all of the defendants to stand trial for the charges they have been accused of. So let's trust the court to make sure that happens. But I'm excited about Charles'
This is good
case.
news. Yeah, I know this keeps kind of going off the rails.
I know.
This is good news, guys. Take it take it for that. I think if we do it much longer, it's really going to go in the gutter. And I have banana pudding to make. And if you want to know how to make my banana pudding, get on the Discord server.
Persona's Planet asks, Awen, is the incompetency because she is trying to harm herself or suicide herself? No. I will tell you no. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's not what it's about. There are no statutes of limitation on murder. Are there on conspiracy to commit murder? I don't know. Lisa, that's a good question. I don't think so. But even if there are, remember, Charles was only murdered in 2018? 2019? 2019. Yeah.
It'd be a long one anyway.
So if there is a statute of limitation, it's many, many years from now. So there's, that's not even something to worry about. She will definitely have to deal with that. Someone says, I hope Brandon gets justice too. Me too. They tried to kill Brandon. Somebody did. Now they... Go ahead.
Yeah. The affidavit we just got that said Alex shot at Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
They could be really looking at that now. They could have some evidence.
Yep. So yeah, 2019. Thank you. I have so many dates. I can't remember the dates of it. When I'm live, my brain is like too focused on being live and reading chat to access all of the my random access memory files.
Dinner is at 7 Eastern because at 8 o'clock Eastern, we were going to be on Awen's channel talking about toxic bliss and narcissistic abuse.
Yes, we are. Tonight's topic, this is for all channel members, so anyone with the green name, please come join us tonight. All Patreon members as well. We're going to be talking about, we talk about toxicity a lot. We're going to be talking about the toxicity on the internet in internet-based groups like forums, Facebook groups, things like that, about why there's such an allure for these groups, how the toxicity starts, and how to get yourself out of it. Because once you get in, man, it's not so easy. But we're going to be talking about that tonight. I am really excited because, Jess, I got a lot to say about that after the last couple weeks. Oh, all right, guys. So that's all the news that there is right at this moment. Please follow Justin Lum on Twitter. It is at JLumFox10. Justin is on top of all this stuff. Certainly the Arizona stuff. He's down there out of Phoenix. Follow Justin. All right, because any documents that come up, he'll put them up as soon as he's got them. Follow Eric Grossarth at Eric Grossarth, and he is from East Idaho News. Follow Nate Eaton at Nate News Now. He is also East Idaho News. They're all covering this. They're all on top of it. And anything breaks, I will be back with you. Okay. All of the documents that we have today so far, like the order for incompetency, I'm going to put that up in Discord if you want to read it yourself. If you want to talk about what this means in a more quiet, conversational way instead of live stream, come to Discord. All right, Discord is totally free. We're going to be in there all day talking about all this stuff because there's a lot. There's so much to talk about. But yeah, please go watch the video on incompetency versus insanity, because we're going to have to talk about it a lot. And the more information you have about what it means, the easier it's going to be to talk about going forward. Okay, so it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be good. Jess, I'm excited. I'm really happy. Kresha, if you're still here, I'd like to give you a call today. I want to touch base with you to make sure, just see how you're doing and say hi and talk to you about all this. So, yeah, I hope you're still here.
Give my love to your whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that today is probably a good day.
I think today is a very good day for the Woodcock Vallow family. Mm-hmm. This is wonderful. All right, guys. So stay in touch. Keep an eye on the channel. Anything new happens, I will 100% be live with you. Oh, good. Crash is still here. Cool. Crash, we got to talk. I'm so excited about this. All right. So, Jess, anything else? Join us tonight at 7 Central, 8 Eastern for the narcissism conversation. It's going to be all about internet toxicity, which is a big deal. Big deal.
And then Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, you're going to be on my channel for Hearsay Live. And that will be fun. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So.
Yep. So we'll make sure you guys have links to all this stuff. All right. But I haven't had breakfast yet because I rolled out of bed and this happened. So I got to go eat something. I'm starving. All right, guys. Yeah. Take care. Stay tuned to the channel. Any more news, we'll bring it to you as soon as it happens. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
And